It's being used by the pandemic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 5:30, and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's meeting is being conducted both in person and online, and all of our council members and our staff are in person in the chambers. Members of the public can attend the meeting in person, or the public can also join us by watching burnsville.gov/meetings or Comcast channel 16 or 859. If you want to join us on Zoom, please go to zoom.us/join. And the information about tonight's meeting is on our webpage and also on our council agenda package. The next item on the agenda is our announcements. And all of our announcements have to do with our upcoming meetings. Regular council meetings are scheduled for Monday, August 1st, 5:30 p.m. And the reason we're doing it on Monday is because on August 2nd, Tuesday, August 2nd, we have Night to Unite, and we'll be out in the community, meeting with everyone and engaging in our community, getting to know our staff and council members, getting to know members of the community. The next council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, August 16th at 5:30 p.m. We have a work session that's scheduled for Monday, August 8th, and it's being rescheduled to August 23rd. We have a special work session that's scheduled for this evening, and this is the proposed 2023 budget and capital improvement plan. And that's going to be at around 6 p.m. in the Dakota B room. No, it's not at the Dakota B room. It's going to be in the council chambers. So when we adjourn the meeting, the council regular meeting, we're going to make sure that the room is then reconfigured for the work session. So, but it'll be in the council chambers. So we will be adjourning, and then that we will reconvene around 6, depending on how soon the room can be reconfigured. And then we also have a quarterly roundtable with our staff Tuesday, July 26th at 5:30 p.m. That will be in the Dakota B room. And we have a service discussion 3 scheduled for Tuesday, August 16th at 6 p.m. in the Dakota B room. All meetings of the council is in the council chambers unless I let you know that it's going to be located in a different room within City Hall. And tonight, it is our great pleasure to have the Burnhaven Library update by Executive Director Chad Lubers. Chad, welcome. Mr. Lubers, it's really wonderful to have you back and to tell us what's going on at the library. And also, thank you for your engagement with all of the events here at the city. It is really terrific to see you and your staff there and the kids getting engaged and liking books and reading. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here this evening. Madam Mayor, council members, my name is Chad Lubers. I'm the manager of the Dakota County Burnsville Public Library. As I've done in previous years, I wanted to stop by tonight just to give you a brief recap of what the library's been up to over the course of 2021, talk a bit about what we're doing in 2022, and then also tonight in particular pass out a few well-earned thank yous to some community partners over the past that we've worked with over the past couple of years. I just realized as I was driving out here today too, this is actually the first in-person presentation I've done in 2 years, so if I'm rusty, you're just gonna have to live with it. All right, so, next slide, please. At a glance, 2021, we had a total of 130,000 visitors, thank you. Just realized that I have control here. 130,000 visitors to the library this past year, and just over 500,000 items were borrowed in 2021. The items that are borrowed, we refer to as circulation. Our circulation was about 80% of what it was pre-pandemic. As of right now in 2022, we're just over 90%. So we are slowly growing back those usage numbers and getting back to where we were before the pandemic. Just under 10,000 people attended classes and events at all of the Dakota County libraries. This number does not just include Burnsville. This includes all 9 of the county libraries. We had a number of Zoom classes and story times and activities that we were doing remotely over the course of 2020, 2021. Last year, we had just under 10,000 people attend those sessions. All right, a few highlights here from 2021. We saw a restoration of our Sunday hours in 2021. So we finally got back to 7-day service. It felt really good to see more of the public coming back to the library now that they had their Sundays back. We eliminated youth fines. So we are no longer charging late fees for materials that are borrowed for youth in the community. We've stepped up our community engagement efforts over the course of 2021 and 2022. As the mayor alluded to earlier, our staff are out in the community more frequently now. We were also really actively pushing our summer reading program this past year, trying to get kids to stay engaged over the summer months to help retain some of those hard-fought literacy skills that they were working to maintain over the course of the school year. And then also wanted to just acknowledge too that we were continuing the library's book clubs. You know, we wouldn't be a library if we didn't offer our book clubs, and 2021 saw a healthy usage of the remote book club sessions that we were offering. Wanted to mention the pandemic response from the library's perspective as well, just because I wanted to thank some of my staff. We had a really big lift, I think, in 2021. We distributed just under 7,000 meals to youth in Burnsville. We had worked with an organization called Youth Prize, partnered with Cub Foods and Lunds to get bags to package food in, and then we passed food out in kind of a drive-through scenario in the backside of the library over the course of 3 months in the summer of last year. Also wanted to mention that the library was tapped by Dakota County Public Health, who were working with Minnesota's health department to distribute PPE over the course of 2021 as well. We passed out about 7,200 masks to underserved populations that the county health department had flagged as an at-need community in this area. So over the course of the year, my staff drove out to multiple apartment complexes, the food shelf, local food shelf here at Dar es Salaam, the Church of the Risen Savior, where we have a large Latino population. We distributed hundreds and hundreds of masks to the supermercados, to the halal markets, to the Asian markets here in Burnsville. And then we had about 30 different ethnic restaurants that we drove masks out to. So over the course of the year, my staff were on the road anytime we got deliveries of masks, just to try to get them out into the community and to try to reach some of those populations that maybe did not have as equal access or as easy access to some of those resources over the course of the pandemic. One of the features of the library that the mayor is particularly proud of, I know, is the meeting room and study room use that we have. The library has 2 large meeting rooms, one that can seat up to about 120 people and another that can seat about a dozen people. And then we have 10 individual study rooms that we make available free of charge to residents. Those individual study rooms were used over 5,000 times in 2021. Those numbers are going to be even higher in 2022. We had people running their businesses out of our study rooms and meeting rooms. We had folks doing Zoom meetings for their businesses. We had client meetings happening in the library. We had a lot of students who were stopping in the library to use their study rooms to prepare for tests and exams. And we have, and I just have to mention this because I love this, we have a very large number of Somali women who are studying to become nurses who meet at the library on a regular basis. And I'm convinced that if you're going to have a heart attack here in Burnsville and you're not in the hospital, come to the library, because I think we've got you covered. All right? So anyway, also just wanted to call out the art exhibits that we started this past year as well. The artwork you see
Beautiful.
here is
Beautiful.
Annie Young, who is a Burnsville resident. If you don't
Yeah.
know Annie, she is a blind veteran who provides a number of art exhibits at different venues all over the state, and she was kind enough to stop by Burnsville this past year to do a display for us. And now I just wanted to say thank you to a couple of key partners that we were working with over the course of 2021, starting, of course, with the city of Burnsville. Elected officials and staff have been spectacular in making opportunities available for the library to participate in community events, for reaching out to us to make sure, first of all, are you still there? Is everybody okay? Is there anything we can do to help? And then we reciprocate by saying, what can we do for the city? When we needed to come up with a plan to distribute masks in the community, we spoke with a number of city staff and said, where would you take these? Who would you reach out to? And some of the ideas that I mentioned earlier came from some of the staff who are working here with the city. So it's been a really good collaboration for us over the course of the past couple of years. Wanted to say thank you to the Elder Resource Association, the YMCA, two organizations that helped us stay engaged with the community, specifically to our older population here in Burnsville, and then to some of the younger residents here in Burnsville. The YMCA has been a great partner to reach out to some of those younger families who are very active at the YMCA. Youth Prize, as I mentioned, is the meal service that we worked with to provide meals at the library in 2021, and then Lunds and Cub were gracious enough to donate bags so that we could pack up the meals to distribute. The Red Cross came by to the library in 11 blood drives in 2021. We collected 260 donations, and the Red Cross tells me that that contributes to saving possibly up to 775 lives. So in the midst of a pandemic that saw a massive drop in blood bank capacity, I'm happy to say the library was willing to work with the Red Cross to try to expand service in that area. Minnesota Health Department, as I mentioned earlier, vital in helping us to get that PPE out to the community. Darussalam worked with us on several different initiatives to help us remain connected to our Somali population. And then ISD 191, I don't know if everyone here knows this, but we issue free public library cards to every child that's in middle school and high school. And the school district worked with us to make sure that that process continued during the pandemic, because we wanted to make sure the kids, even if they couldn't come into the library, they still had access to all of the e-books and e-audio books that they could download from home, either through an app on a smartphone, a tablet, or even to their Chromebooks. Last thank you, big shout out to the residents of Burnsville. I don't know if you can see the image here on the presentation, some of the letters here that were mailed to us. We had probably about 30 to 40 different letters that arrived at various times throughout the year, addressed to library staff and some of the staff in particular. We had people drop off flowers, balloons, we had folks buying us coffee, and it seems like a small thing, but it makes it a lot easier to come to work in the morning, especially during pandemic conditions, when you know that what you're doing is appreciated by the public. And just needed to give a shout out to those of you who, in the midst of a horrible pandemic, went out of their way to make sure that the library was okay, to thank us for the services that we were provided, and to say they were looking forward to coming back in person. Yeah. So big thank you to the residents of Burnsville. And that is everything I have for you today. I stand for questions if anybody has anything to ask about the library services.
Mr. Lubers, I don't have a question. I just have some remarks to make. I want to thank you for your strong support and engagement during the census period, because you were so engaged with us. You attended every meeting, and you also helped us with the count at the library. And then for all the things that you do in staying engaged with the community. And that's referenced with the letters and the gifts and so forth that people bring in. And members of the council, if you haven't stopped into the library, go take a look if you haven't, because it's amazing what Mr. Lubers and his staff have done. I love seeing all of those people working on laptops and the computers and doing their work, from students to adults. And it's a wonderful amenity that is helping members of our community. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Yeah, it is with truly gratitude.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next item is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience or on Zoom to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda and not an application form that will be coming before us at a future date. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Mrs. Collins, is there anyone on Zoom?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We will then move on. The next is additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. City Manager Lindberg, are there any emergency items to come before the council?
Nothing from staff, Madam Mayor.
Members of the council? Okay, and then we will move on to the consent agenda. And this is a group of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item can be removed from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone who wishes an item to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Ms. Collins, is there anyone on Zoom?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. City Manager Lindberg, does staff want any items to be removed for a separate discussion and vote?
Nothing from staff, Mayor.
Members of the council, I think we do have one that's going to.
Madam Mayor, would like to pull 4N as in Nancy.
Members of the council, 4N is being requested to be pulled. May I have a motion for the balance?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Council Member Keeley, N is to approve the plans and specifications and authorize the solicitation bids for I-35W Frontage Trail Project.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just
I
wanted
don't
to.
think you're opposing this.
No, quite the contrary. I think I just wanted to pull it to really highlight and discuss or just make comment about what this is. It's elevating a portion of the trail to bring it above majority of flood events. And in the last 10 years, we've had several 100-year flood events. This year doesn't look like that's going to be a problem. No. But we never know what the weather is going to bring. And for those pedestrians, walkers, bikers, scooters, wheelchair accessible, having that trail open even in the spring and fall when there's rains and the river rises is really critical now that we finally got a pedestrian crossing at I-35 in Burnsville into Bloomington and back. So for all of those that have been watching and waiting and maybe thought we forgot about it, we didn't. Things just take a while sometimes. And I understand we're going to have some work done this fall, and then it'll the majority be completed next spring. But maybe Mr. Peterson would have some comment on the timeline for those watching that are interested in when this is going to be done, so they can be assured that if there's some heavy rains and some flooding of the river elevation, that they can look forward to maybe still crossing that bridge, even in those circumstances.
Yeah, and just to add to your comments, Councilmember Keeley, we listened to our community, and people
Yes.
came up and, wanted to make sure that we did something about that because it was left off the funding.
Yes.
And so we had to go and get the funding to make that a reality. So, but the thing is, we all work together, and it does take some time. Mr. Peterson, any comments?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, members of the council, we expect to have a contract in hand this year for you to consider approval of. At that point, we could start building the base for the new trail. The old trail would stay open that whole time. And then next year, after we can get some compaction done, we would pave it, and then we remove the old trail at that point. So there should only be 2 to 3 weeks where neither one would be available while we're building it. The rest of the time, we can build 90% of it while keeping the other one open. But we'd hope by sooner than this next year to have it open.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that we can all partner together and cobble the money together to make this a reality.
Indeed.
Yeah, and to your point, that's why it takes time. Sometimes
Sometimes,
it
yes.
takes time to get the money to get it fixed right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, since it wasn't included in the
Yeah,
package.
it's nothing like $150 million new bridge, and no guarantee that pedestrians could cross if there's a elevation of the river. So
Yeah, but
now,
we listened.
now they'll get it.
But we listened and directed staff to find some money from the feds and the state.
Yeah.
So here we are. So would you like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve plans and specifications and authorize solicitation of bids for the I-35 frontage trail project.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Thank you very much. We now go on to the regular agenda, and we have one item on the regular agenda, and this is the application of the City of Burnsville for an amendment to City Code Title 10, that's zoning, Chapter 7, general provisions, Chapter 12, R1, one-family residential district, and Chapter 13, R1A, one-family rural residential, to make minor amendments related to the topics, including but not limited to zoning requirements for accessory structures, residential foundation and roofs, adoption of the ordinance, and authorize the summary ordinance publication. And our Assistant Community Development Director, Regina Dean, is presenting. Ms. Dean.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. This is, in the eyes of planning staff, a minor amendment to the zoning code, more of a housekeeping type of change. We are in the midst of doing a full zoning code review and amendment. We've kind of done a rehaul or overhaul of the changes, and that's taken some time to rearrange. I hope to be before you later this summer, however, with the full, at least the single-family and multifamily changes, and then we'll phase in the rest of the changes as we go on. But these are small but pretty impactful changes to our community. And the changes are to Chapter 7, 12, 13, and they do impact the requirements for roofs, basements, basically eliminating a lot of the requirements that are
like it.
already spoken in the building code. So there's a full breakdown of the proposed changes as an attachment, and then a chart within your background, and I'd certainly stand for any questions that you might have.
Ms. Dean, thank you so much for the work that staff has done with this and removing a lot of those requirements that are obsolete and we don't need. And then I want to also thank the Planning Commission for their work, and that they're recommending to adopt the changes. And that was unanimous.
It was unanimous,
Yes.
correct, Mayor?
So thank you to the Planning Commission and their work. Members of the council, do you have any thoughts? They've done a really great job.
I would move to approve.
Okay. Now, I'm going to bundle this if nobody's going to object, because then we approve the
Yep.
ordinance amendments and then the summary ordinance. Is that your
Move to
motion?
bundle it and approve.
Okay, and
I am good with that.
Councilmember Schultz
You know,
seconds the
to look
motion.
at me. So.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you so much, and thank you to the Planning Commission and to all of your work in looking into all of that. Okay, members of the council, there are no other items to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. And now I want to remind everyone that we will reconvene for the special council work session. Not 6 o'clock.
No, we're gonna be
Probably 6,
more like 6:15, I would guess, Madam Mayor. About 20
Come
minutes
back.
to reset the room.
yeah, well, I'll say
25 degrees.
6:30.
6:30 is even safer, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Okay, thank you. We will reconvene around
here,
6:30.
6:45,
Okay.